And at different points in our practice, we can have deepening realizations of the fundamental teachings of the Buddha. And that particularly is of anatta, the Pali word for selflessness or non-self, that there's no inherently existing self. But when we're not in a position to do a longer intensive retreat, is this insight, this understanding accessible to us? On my last self-retreat, quite spontaneously, a 9-minute-a-day plan came to my mind. I thought of it as a way of turbocharging our daily practice by doing 3 short meditations a day, 3-minute meditations. And each of these sessions that I'm about to guide us in targets a particular area of strong identification where this mistaken sense of self is created and is strengthened. In the first 3 minutes, we'll simply sit and listen to sounds. And as we open to and relax into the awareness of the various sounds, settling back into that openness, into that spaciousness, we can ask ourselves the question, can I find what is knowing the sound? As we investigate, we discover that there's no actual knower, even though knowing is happening. So in this case, we're listening to sounds, we're open to hearing, and when the mind feels open, relaxed, spacious, we ask the question, can I find what's knowing the sound? And we see that although we cannot find the knower, the knowing is still going on. So this can be very helpful in breaking the identification with the knowing as a knower. All that's going on is just hearing. There's no I or self behind it. In the second 3 minutes, we'll do an exercise that helps break through the very strong identification we have with the body. And in this session, there are 2 parts, and they could be alternated with one another, or you could find the one that is most helpful for you. The first part of the exercise is to take in as deeply as possible the truth that birth inevitably ends in death. To make as vivid as possible the understanding not only of our own deaths, but also the deaths of everyone around us. The truth of this is not something morbid, but rather it's part of the truth of our lives. This is something that will come to pass for us all. And it serves as a very potent reminder that the body is not self, is not I. It's subject to aging, decay, and death. The other exercise in this second session, in which we're learning to not identify with the body, is to be experiencing bodily sensations free of the concept of body or part of body. And so we'll be investigating and experiencing the sensations directly and their changing nature. In the last 3 minutes, involves a careful attention to thoughts with an effort to be aware of thoughts precisely as they arise. Very often we're aware of thoughts after they're already finished, and that itself is a useful insight. But in this particular 3 minutes, we'll arouse the effort and the energy and the attentiveness to be watching for thoughts and to see if it's possible to be aware of them in their very moment of arising. When we're able to do this, even for a few moments, we often see that in the moment of being aware of the thought vanishes. And through repeating this exercise again and again, we weaken the identification we have with the thought process, with thinking. Begin to see that thought itself is the thinker, and that there's no I or self behind it.